try to get her help on her feet. But I would want her to know, like, we're here for you. We are here to stand with you. We're going to continue to stand with you. We want those villains prosecuted.
Yes.
Right? Arrested, charged, and prosecuted. Right? And then we want them to cut that check. You need to get paid.
Right.
We're going to help you get a lawyer.
Right.
All of that, right?
Yes.
So all these people came out here at the, at a moment's notice for you. And it's just love. This is what we have in our family, in our community. And before you got up here, I did share like just how selfless you were in that video. But I don't want to talk about the video too much because it's triggering for me, so I can't even imagine what our sister here is going through. But Hallie, whatever you'd like to say, the mic is yours. We're here for you.
Woo!
I kind of lost my voice. Yelling.
It's okay. It's okay.
So, thanks for being with me on this. But so I guess I haven't really prepared what I'm gonna say, but I'll just keep saying the story, what happened, because I think it is important to, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share and observe what's going on in our community. So I roll up the other night, Thursday night, it's like 10 o'clock, right? So it's early. I'm like, okay. And they've already got like cops down at the end of Lake and Gerard, and the security's like blocking it off. And the reason I went out was because I saw some youth activists had posted they needed more people, more bodies. So I wanted to check in, make sure everything's cool. Yeah, use my white privilege a little bit, like, and so normally I'm able to walk up and it's not a problem. Anyway, the security guard stops me. He doesn't want me to go down the alley. And I'm just asking where the youth activists are, how it went, what happened to them. And then his colleague, or whatever you want to call him, walks up, and I guess I don't know the difference. I've since read on the internet that there and heard that there might be paintball guns, not rifles, but I didn't know in the moment. I see they're wearing what looks to me like rifles and these bulletproof vests, and I don't know. I guess I didn't. This guy walks up. And he didn't really pause. He's just like, I was on their private property, is the gist of it. And the other guard had told me that they were working for 7 Points Uptown, and as their private paramilitary service. So, which, side note, I have friends in the military and they're so fucking pissed about this. So like, I don't think all of the military is like this, but anyway. This guy, the second guy comes up and he says, I've been on their private property, and he starts punching me in the head, which is not what's on video. But that's how it started. And I know he got me at least 3 times. I will admit, I'm not sure if my memory is like perfect. Could have been more. I don't know if he got me with his hand or his gun. I really didn't bruise that bad. I have a little bit right here. So I'm happy about that. Very grateful. But yeah, he started punching me. I obviously fought back. If you saw the video. And I do think that mace was a huge help for me, and I would recommend everybody getting mace, but who doesn't know that? Yeah, so I admit I'm struggling with a brain injury at this point. I was diagnosed at HCMC yesterday, and I feel a little off today, but I just want to acknowledge that I don't think a lot of these bad things that are coming out of Uptown and coming out of Minneapolis, I don't think they would happen if more people showed up.
Yes. Thank you, Haley.
Because the reason I think, and like others expressed to me, I think they punched me in the head because they thought I was alone. And then, you know, they wouldn't have done that if others had been there. So, I mean, my mistake for going alone, but
There's no mistake of yours.
I don't have time to plan with everybody. So,
Yeah, it's no mistake of yours.
you know.
You're not at fault of anything. You're not at fault.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I am going to continue to show up, and I am not. Fear really, truly is the only commodity people like that have. It's the only fucking commodity that they have, and I'm not afraid. I'm pissed. I don't feel great, but I'm going to keep showing up, and I hope other people keep showing up because the more people...
We got you, Haley. We got you.
Our city, our area can finally become, hopefully. People need to see people out, and like, I don't regret it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Woo!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know if you feel more comfortable sitting down or something, like go wherever you're going to be comfortable.
Be strong.
And stuff. So definitely, just let us know if you need anything at all. See, but that takes courage, right?
Right.
Because sometimes people are beat by the police and they're afraid. Now, they're not technically police, but we know that they are former law enforcement, right?
Right.
So they're part of that brotherhood,
Right.
which makes it even harder for the police. Hallie, did you file a police report yet?
No, but I did file. My friend gave me some really good advice, and maybe this is good advice for anyone if this happens. Any
Come
assault.
back up. I'm sorry, I know you don't I can't hear you.
Woo!
You know, when the police don't want us in Uptown in the first place, and then part of the process is technically filing a police report, you know? So,
No, I did not file a police report because they were 1/2 city block away, and I lost my voice yelling for help, and they didn't come. I didn't dip from the scene like right afterwards. I was there for at least a couple more minutes. So like if they wanted to check it out, they would have. I didn't want to invite them there if they didn't want to be there. Anyway, and then so my friend gave me some good advice, which maybe this is good advice for anybody if you happen to get assaulted by somebody in town. But I filed a complaint, not like an official one because they have to contact me back, but it's so easy. Just I went online, the Minnesota Department of Civil Rights and the Minneapolis Department of Civil Rights. I filed complaints with both of them.
Okay.
okay, well, thank you for doing that. Also, Michelle Gross wants your contact information. She's the president of CUAPB. She also works for National Lawyers Guild. Very concerned about you, wants to help.
Yes.
So we'll connect. And yeah, she's amazing. She writes up lawsuits and everything. Most of the families here that have someone that's been killed by the police, it's Michelle Gross who's writing those lawsuits, and it's Communities United Against Police Brutality that's doing the investigations.
Woo!
On those so that people can get justice.
Yeah.
Shout out to CUAPB.
Woo!
Able to be here together. So I think firsthand they helped with Marcus's, my nephew's lawsuit. He was killed by St. Paul police. So you'll be in good hands with CUAPB and Michelle. So I'll get your number and stuff before you leave. Okay. So.
Yes.
But I do want to applaud you, you know, for coming forward, you know, and not just taking
Woo!
for self-care is important.
Yeah.
But if you can't be here, we'll still be out, right?
Right.
Right. Some people no, I don't want any attention, and that's their choice, and that's okay. But you're here. It looks like you're a fighter, and we're gonna stand and fight with you.
Yeah.
So thank you again for being here. It means the world to us that you can come and encourage us that you're ready to stand and fight. Because a lot of people don't have that in them. So yesterday, I don't know if you saw, we had a press conference and had some great speakers. I want to thank CARE Minnesota, especially for the work that they did on getting the media out, writing that press conference. So CARE, Mohammed, y'all want to to highlight this. I think with the videos coming forward, we can get some more traction for justice for Hallie.
Well, Haley, I want to say thank you so much for your courage, and we are your back. So thank you so much for your courage and actually re-traumatizing yourself to come and speak out today. So hi everybody, my name is Mohammed Ibrahim. I'm with CARE Minnesota, and I want to also shout out Michelle Gross because she let us know about some specific information today that the Minneapolis police are actually working hand in glove with paramilitary groups to come out and really suppress us in trying to not only hold space but continue to demand for justice. And I think this is a great reminder that we all need to have maybe a moment to ourselves to talk about safety, movement safety, and how to keep each other safe, because we do not want what happened to Haley to happen to anybody else, right? And it's really important for us to kind of not only stick together, but to remind ourselves and, you know, get mace if you don't have mace. But at the same time, you know, we could talk about safety as much as we want, but we also want to talk about some accountability, because we need to have some charges filed against whoever assaulted Haley, and we want to see some assault charges filed ASAP. So, and that was what the press conference was about yesterday, right? Is asking for some accountability as well, and really we want to know kind of what's going on in the city. We know that there are some groups that are also hired to, you know, suppress some of the stuff that's happening up on line 3, and we're wondering and asking, you know, are these groups are working in tandem, you know, knowing that there's a group that's being hired, you know, by MPD that's out of England, right? So I think we need to continue to push. We can't let these moments scare us and try to scare us from continuing to fight the fight that we want to have, so that we can create a more just and a more accountable society. So for us, to be honest with you, and specifically with the case of Winston Smith, you know, we've had conversations with the USAO, and we're thoroughly disappointed with the U.S. Marshals, because they had the ability to not only enforce, you know, cameras months beforehand, but this is something that was mandated at the federal level, and yet we do not have any accountability towards what's happening. And we do know that, you know, county groups and county deputies pulled out, you know, their officers from participating in these task forces, but they could have done that a long time ago if they knew that the practices were not accurate. So
That's
I think we
right.
should continue to demand for justice. We cannot let them putting up barricades, meaning that they're going to barricade away our fight and us demanding for some accountability and transparency and justice for Winston Smith. We need to remember that we still have, you know, 3 more officers that still need to be brought to justice, right? We need to continue to demand for charges to be upgraded in the Kim Potter, you know, case, and also that, you know, Dante Wright was killed in a public street, right? So I think that it deserves for the public that we should be able to look to see what's actually happening in the court case, right? So we need to have video cameras, and the public needs to have the ability to actually see what's going on with the case that's Kim Potter. So we need to continue to push for that as well. And the last thing before I get off, there was actually another person that got assaulted last night, and he suffered some head injuries as well by what we're guessing is the same military group. His name is Link. He's somebody that's really big on Twitter that actually talks about all these things that are happening, so on and so forth. And they did approach a group, and MPD was actually standing nearby when they slammed him, and he got some head injuries, and he's seeking medical attention. And we are learning that he did have some attorneys that are working with him. But again, you know, we really need to talk about safety. We need to talk about how we can keep each other safe. So if you're coming to a protest, bring a friend. And if you're leaving, please, you know, walk in pairs, check up on each other, because who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
I really have to salute CARE Minnesota for all the work they've been doing on police accountability. It's just a wonderful. Next, we're going to have Trayvon Cruz, Black Lives Matter Minnesota, come up and speak. He was also at the press conference and doing a lot of work. I think he really kicked off the whole reparations conversation here in the Twin Cities, amongst other things. He is a true long-term community organizer. So give a hand to Trayvon Cruz.
Thank you for coming out here and thank you for being brave enough to come out here in the face of threats from white supremacists. We know on January 6th, when white supremacists stormed the Capitol, that there were law officials there lawmakers were a part of that group that stormed the Capitol. We know that police were a part of that group that stormed the Capitol. We know that people from the fire department were a part of that group that stormed the Capitol. We know that there was a report that says white supremacy is the #1 threat to homeland security. It's not gun violence on the north side. It's not the #1 threat to homeland security. The #1 threat is white supremacy. We also know that there was a report that white supremacists have been joining the police department and have been becoming a part of the police department, and these same white supremacists are patrolling black and brown neighborhoods and brutalizing the people. So we're calling on Jacob Frey. We know that there's a Department of Justice investigation. So we got to go over Jacob Frey's head, because
Right.
he's not serious about police.
Right.
Jacob Frey's not serious about ending poverty in Minneapolis. Jacob Frey is serious about building condominiums and luxury condominiums for rich people. He's not concerned about the poor people who live on the north side or the poor people who live on the south side. So he's not what's up right now. So we have to have a list of demands that
Yes.
Thank you, Trayvon. I just want to piggyback on something Trayvon said. He was talking about the research done that has shown that white supremacists have infiltrated various law enforcement departments. That report was done by the FBI, I believe, like 16 years ago. So it's not new news, right? And there's been nothing done to counter that.
Things first, we have to remember why we are currently here at Bryan Park, down the street from Lake and Gerard, because of Winston Smith being murdered. Right, so everyone please say his name.
Winston Smith.
Say his name.
Winston Smith.
What's his name?
Winston Smith.
Who'd they kill?
Winston Smith.
Who'd they murder?
Winston Smith.
Who'd they assassinate?
Winston Smith.
We also have to realize we're out here, like Monique was saying, for people who stood up protecting that space, like Deanna Marie, who was killed by a white supremacist who drove down Lake while she was protecting that sacred space in honor of Winston Smith. So when I say rest in peace, y'all say Deanna Marie. Rest in peace!
Deanna Marie.
Rest in peace!
Deanna Marie.
Rest in peace!
Deanna Marie.
Rest in peace!
Deanna Marie.
And lastly, another reason we're here tonight is because we've all been to Lake and Gerard. We all have spent time up there after Winston Smith was assassinated, after Deanna Marie was murdered. But there was a group of people who held it down, a group of people who were there. We've all been there, but those people stayed there, made that garden what it was. And don't let 7 Points say, yeah, we're working with the community, we let them have the garden. Now, they took that shit. They said, this is ours. Y'all don't get to have this anymore. And every time they try to put up some fences, try to put up some whatever, the collective said, nah, we gon' do what the fuck we're gonna do. And so we have to give them their respects as well. And then we all know the city, CRG came in and took all the shit, bulldozed, whatever. But we have to give a big shout out and a round of applause to the Wince Marie Collective. And then they're gonna come up and speak. So go ahead, Wince Marie Collective, come on up.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
I don't know about y'all. I'm kind of mad. I have a lot to be mad about. It's been a lot to be mad about in the last
3 months.
We could keep going how far back. But specifically in the last a little over a month now. Yeah, in this neighborhood, in this area right here, it's been a lot to be fucking mad about. So I'm one of the people who witnessed what happened to Haley. I filmed the video. And you know, we need to be out here, y'all. Because when we show up, just like Haley said, when we show up and we're boots to the ground, guess what? Shit like that can't happen because they understand none of us are ever alone. They made that mistake when they put hands on a woman. They thought she was alone. But what they don't understand is what community means. Nobody is ever alone, right? So we need y'all to show up. Let me not take too much time with that because I really want to read something that I wrote. that has to do with this whole situation. And what all of these altercations come down to is people over property. And they choose property over people every time. So this is what I have to say about that. In order to understand the significance and importance of direct action, we have to understand the relationship between capitalism and racism. These two structures of white supremacy go hand in hand, as anti-black racism is emboldened and enabled by the system of class which so blatantly facilitates the imposed racial hierarchy in this country. Protest comes in many forms, from sitting peacefully on the ground with our hands up to burning down precincts. In all forms, these are valid and each has their place within this movement. In shutting down a significantly busy commercial corridor such as here in Uptown, we are directly impacting the flow of capital to white businesses in the area, which act in compliance and silence surrounding issues related to the importance and sanctity of black life. This silence begets complacency and allows the acceptance of violence against black bodies. And white ones, we see that too.
Right.
They don't care anymore. When our black people are murdered in cold blood by the state and no one seems to care, business as usual is an act of violence. We must move with the intention of disrupting business as usual.
Yes.
And reclaiming Uptown for our black community, which has been pushed out of the area through gentrification and other methods aimed at keeping the neighborhood white and silent. Black folks are consistently killed and brutalized in the city, let alone in this very neighborhood.
Right.
And yet still so many turn a blind eye. And so when we say no justice, no peace, we mean that shit.
Right.
So until we get some semblance of justice, Uptown Minneapolis will not sleep soundly, just like our black and brown children can't sleep soundly, play, or just grow up in their own neighborhoods without the fear of police and other variations of state violence. When they refuse to hear us at our most peaceful, they will have no choice but to hear us in our disruption. Stokely Carmichael said, in order for nonviolence to work, your opponent must have a conscience. America has none.
Right.
When those in power speak only the language of capital and ownership, it is the language of this that we must target directly. No, it's not convenient. No, it's not pretty. And no, it's not meant to be. Revolution is not meant to be palatable. Disruption and disobedience are essential to the power of protest. Continue to push back. Continue to disrupt Uptown's flow of capital. In this fight for justice and collective liberation, it is imperative that we get comfortable with our discomfort. If you're more angry about the actions taken by protesters than you are about the unjust murder that they are protesting, then you are part of the problem.
Tell it. Tell it. Tell it.
Are part of the problem. Wake up.
Tell it.
I'm gonna pass the mic to my comrade right here.
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Good.
So when the space was desecrated, I was at work, and it was really disappointing. But when I saw it in person, I saw an opportunity, and I haven't gotten to say this to all of the collective, but especially I want to say this to Uptown. We've created a SOAR right in the middle of Uptown. Those Jersey barricades, police presence, if they're bike cops, CRG, and unfortunately, yeah, that now leads to an increase of violence. But that is now an image that black and brown people are comfortable with and have seen all their lives that now white people have to face.
Right.
They have to see what it's like to have minimum security. I'm from Miami, I'm from Florida, and I'm used to cops just riding through, posted on the intersection, and then the threat of either myself or my cousins, male cousins or whatever, going to prison, maximum security. In short, people of color, specifically black people, have never been free. We are always surveilled. We are always at the threat of having our freedom taken away from us. We are always uncomfortable. And now we've brought that discomfort to Uptown. Now white people can see what it's like to be us, to be in my neighborhood, to know what it's like to not be free. So if you're discouraged by the image, it is sad, but we can do that on Hennepin. We can do that down by Lindale. We can make them close off their own neighborhoods, so much so that the white people have to say, all right, what the hell do these protesters want just so I can get my neighborhood back?
Let's do it.
So don't be discouraged. Use this as getting past first rank. I was talking to somebody about how these days I've been feeling like we've always been pawns against pawns. Police brutality, it is, of course, it is a problem. But in white supremacy, police are at the bottom of it. There's higher ups, there's officials, there's people with the money, with the power to make change. Police are just their arm. And we've been fighting against them. When I read Huey P. Newton, Revolutionary Suicide, Assata Shakur, her book, and I see that they were fighting the same shit, it kind of depressed me when I realized we've been in the same fight. We've been at first rank, pawns against pawns. We haven't even played Bishop. I haven't even thrown out my knight or used my queen. This is how you do it. Fuck the police. Obstruct their neighborhoods. Make them have to drive around with
Amen. 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 Take it to their home.
And remember, and as a Haitian, and having my revolutionary story always told on January 1st, which is New Year's for you guys, but it's our Independence Day. On that day, there's a soup that's prepared. It's a soup that was made the day that we made our revolution, and it's called soup Jamu. And your matriarch prays a blessing over you, and you're reminded of how we got our freedom from France. And let me tell you something: white supremacy didn't get to where it was because, and this is not to discredit it, because they said say his name or made a garden. White supremacy got to where it was because they destroyed people. They killed off complete societies. They tore down stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not against chanting and holding space. That is important. But remember that sometimes you do have to fight fire with fire. They are not going. This is not a dialogue. I'm not negotiating my freedom with you. So I'm not going to have a conversation. Direct action is always going to be in our favor. Does that make sense? So do not be afraid. If you get caught in conversation, if you get caught, I mean, we do need people to sign the papers, to write our demands and such like that. But this is not a conversation. If you want to fuck up my neighborhood, I'm going to come fuck up yours too.
Hello. Try to fuck up my life, I'm going to fuck up your neighborhood. Fuck him up!
What's up, everybody?
Two.
Bear with me. I came prepared to talk. I didn't come prepared to be crying and trying to talk over crying.
Take your time.
We all came out here in support in the fight of getting justice for Winston Smith, and we are the Winston Marie Collective, and it was never about the garden. And I'm sorry, Haley, and I'm sorry, Deanna, and I'm sorry for all the inconveniences, but that's the point of us being out there. I'm black every single second of my life. I don't get a break. I don't get to decide when I want to go do something. If I got time, I don't have a fucking choice. It ain't about if I agree with you because of some intersectionality shit. It ain't about what you want to be referred to. I wish V was here because I love that woman or them. I love them because they always check whiteness when it happens, and they let people know right away that at the end of any situation, you're just a white person talking to a black person. You're trying to compare your sufferings to mine, and it could never happen. It's never going to be similar. You'll never know what it's like to fucking walk away from a store with some Skittles and a hoodie and worried if you're gonna get followed by a vigilante, or if you're gonna reach for your wallet and get shot after you told to reach for your wallet in front of your kids. You don't know what it's like to be ducking bullets from protesters, anti-protesters, and police. You don't know what that shit's like. So miss me with all of that. You got time shit. Right now and forever with me, we're going to get justice for Winston.
Amen.
I don't give a fuck who with me and who not.
Amen.
Because Winston could have been me. And the funny, ironic part about it is that everybody in my family grew up with Winston and knew him, except for me.
Here we are.
So I'm really affected by his death. And it was hard to go up there and face it and see his best friends and his family and his mom and not say something to him. It's hard to deal with death, y'all. It ain't an easy thing. But right now, in this fight for justice, the only question I pose for all people to answer and ponder over and to pose to others is, are you for human rights, and how are you going to help? Because you can only get one answer to, are you for human rights?
Amen.
And that's you're for it, and what you're doing for it.
For me or
if you're
against me.
white and you're here, learn how to use your motherfucking privilege to help us.
Amen.
We need help. That's why we showed up, and I'm sorry to whatever groups through this, but that's why we showed up, because we needed y'all weeks ago. We needed y'all 30 days, 40 days ago. We needed all y'all fucking over there. We needed y'all when they were shooting dogs with marker rounds, when they was macing people and leaving them there, when they was shooting and stabbing and towing people's cars and ripping shit off it. We needed y'all then. Not
there.
after some tragic shit happened. I'm tired of it. So part of me want to tell y'all, kiss my motherfucking ass.
You got the rights.
But
You got the right.
I don't
got the
mean
right.
that out of maliciousness. I don't mean that out of harm.
Out of
Look
wake
at
up.
me. I face any what do you call it, discrepancy you could think of. I face every different obstacle you could think of because I look like this. Not because I said I'm black, because people told me I'm black. And they put all this shit against me, and then people wonder why we fucking do the shit we do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, y'all here to fight. I'm sorry I lost track of what the fuck I was thinking about. Sorry about the cussing kids, but reality is this. We dying. We motherfucking targets.
Yep.
Every single second of our life, people that look like me and people that identify as brown or whatever fucking discrimination category. Look, I got it the worst. All right? I got it the fucking worst. And if y'all really want to make change, that $4.some million that they lost in revenue, that's the answer. White supremacy only respects a major blood loss, a bloodbath, and when it's pouring in the streets, or they respect major loss of money. So y'all know what we got to do. And
Hit them in the pocket.
Out and stay tuned where the camera's at. Yeah, be ready. We coming. Steve Taylor and people like him got a motherfucker.
Amen.
Mike Freeman got a motherfucker.
Amen.
Got a motherfucker.
Amen. Fish fry.
The governor got a motherfucker.
Yes.
And if you side with him, you got a motherfucking go.
Yeah.
Shit take off. It might have to get lightning. Y'all
Right.
better stay tuned.
Amen.
Get shit together. Because some links might get cut. A load might need to get lightened. You know what I'm saying? Learn what your strengths is. Face your fears, because them is what make you powerful.
Amen.
It's the fears that's holding you back, that's stopping you from being who you know you should be.
Amen.
Other than that, I'm just
Step into
saying
your
we out here
fullness.
for Winston Smith. That's why it all started. I don't know nothing about nothing else. We all of us. These is my new family, y'all.
Yep.
This is my new family.
I love you.
Y'all are welcome. We need y'all. We're going to continue. We're not giving up. I'm not giving up. I don't want to let you, how you see me and let me give up. We got to lift each other up for real. It's like the Asada chant.
Yeah.
Everybody know it. It's like that. We got to live it.
We love you.
And I love y'all too.
Yeah.
Y'all are beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do want to clarify something about where we've been and what we do. We do a lot. Everything we do is not always in the street, right? But I'm 55 years old. I'm not staying out all night no more. I did that with Bryan Park occupation. I'm ready for bed, okay?
I'm at that age.
Then we come out there, then what? Then people want to talk shit, right? When we're out there because they didn't get on the mic, but we got people who don't really know what they're talking about sometimes. So we protect the mic, right?
Right.
But if you want help, hey, all you got to do is ask. A cold mouth don't get fed, right?
Right.
So, we're out here. We had our sister Hallie got attacked. We got another brother out here who got attacked, right? So now we have another threat, which is a hired security company, right? So we're out here with the event page. Said Winston Smith, Deanna Marie, Hallie, and now we've got Tony over here and another person that's been attacked. So yeah, we do. You were attacked as well? Okay, I'm gonna get you on the mic, but I just want to clarify. With Black Lives Matter, we do get it down in the streets. We have legal issues, court, right. I got 2 court cases coming up for arrest. That's a lot of paperwork coming to the house, right? Looking for lawyers, right?
We got you.
Lawsuit. There's a whole lot going on that we do. We can't be everywhere all the time, but we do what we can. If you call and ask them, we show up.
We're on time.
It's all love. It's all love. But we want to be on one accord.
Amen.
I'm just gonna say, there's some people I just don't fuck with. Okay. So, thank you. We have another person. Is there someone else from the collective? You were also attacked. Okay, and what's your name? DeAndre was also attacked. So tell us about your experience.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing today?
Here.
Yeah, I was attacked when they was all protesting. We was all protesting when we had all that stuff, all the garbage cans and everything over there. But then I guess they were grabbing people. I was in my work uniform because I work at Nicolet Diner. I'm a line cook. So I was on about this. Oh yeah, he flipped the scripture. They threw me on my ass. I didn't resist. Didn't do nothing. I had my leg. He kept putting pressure on it. So when they put me in when they had me in custody, they even injured me even more. Threw me on the walls, all type of stuff. So I was really hurt. I'm just begging the dude when he got his knee in my back and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm begging like, dude, can you please ride up? Please let the handcuffs go. Please just let me out. Like, you know how you trying to fight for your life, but you can't even do nothing because you hold by 4 or 5 cops on the bikes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was attacked. They got me for damaging property.
What?
They said when the bus stay strong, because we have to stay together. If we stay together, they can't face us.
Right.
Right?
Unity.
We stay in unity.
Unity.
Yeah. Don't run, don't do nothing. Stay strong.
Yes.
We ain't doing nothing wrong. We're fighting for our rights.
Right.
But that's all I gotta say.
We love you.
My brother here, Link, is the one that was spoken about earlier who was attacked. So it's looking to me like I'm seeing like a class action lawsuit forming against the security company.
Right. Yes.
Right? So, Link, can you share with us whatever's on your heart?
I don't want to talk about the confrontation too much. It's still ongoing. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about the confrontation too much. It's still ongoing. I do want to touch on a little bit about who this company is. Security contractor, private military company, whatever. They're international mercenaries is what they are.
Right.
When you look
That's
at
exactly what they were.
Mission statement, they done took it down because it's already got all public exposure. They said they built the website so it's hard to access to the general public. Only the people that can offer them contracts are supposed to be able to access their website. These people work in Libya, North Africa, Afghanistan, Iraq. They specialize in anti-stalking measures, protecting business executives from political extremists. This is all in their about me statement. We're protesters, man. These guys hired, we're getting treated like insurgents. You can hear the guy who owns the company, he's on a podcast the day before the garden eviction, and he's comparing Minneapolis to when I went and I seen during the uprising the burning cars and the burning buildings. It reminded me of my time overseas, like comparing Minneapolis to actual war zones and then trying to treat protesters accordingly, like you would insurgents in Iraq or Afghanistan or who they label as insurgents, who really just probably local community members.
Right. That's right. There you go. Clear it up. Go clear it up.
Send off these fucking locals so these businesses can thrive in places they're not supposed to be. So that's what this company does. They further American imperialism abroad, and then they're here treating protesters like they do people abroad. And it's just not okay. If MPD had done that to Hallie, we would have been at a precinct.
Right.
When we let these unmarked Walmart G.I. Joes walk around and do this, and no, come on, man. Come on, man. We need to be outside. More of us need to be outside.
Take the streets. We love you.
Critical Response Group.
CRG, our sister Sarah was posting about that in the event. Quite a bit of information about that group. We have another person, you are Farah, who's going to speak.
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Yeah.
If y'all over here taking space, y'all got to occupy space. So that it was entirely too quiet for how you doing.
Yeah.
Occupying space. How you doing?
Good.
That was cool, but I need better. How y'all doing?
We good.
I'm not gonna talk too long. And doable asks. of creating a youth center where the Libertine building would have been. We asked them. That's very simple for them to do. Instead of having folks get drunk over there and harass people, you can make that into a youth center that would have been tangible and good. We didn't ask it for them for free. We only asked them for a 12-month rent-free space on it, and then we would pay afterward. Ask them. They ain't give us no response to it. Ask them very clearly if they would raise the parking rate by $1. Give part of that profit to Deanna Marie's family, part of that profit to Winston Smith's family, right? These are tangible things. They could snap their fingers and do it. But brutalizing people is more net beneficial to them, because power understands that if we start conceding to the will of the people, then damn, we're gonna have to actually pay them what they worth. Then damn, we're gonna have to actually engage in our community. Then damn, we'll have to actually be a part of the community. And power understands they can't do that. They can own 2 blocks of a city that we all live in when they are all in Chicago. How is that community building? How is that community building? What part of 7 Points' resources come back to any of y'all? Has 7 Points ever reached out to any of y'all, giving y'all opportunities? No. But they're able to control a 2-block radius of our city that we live in, that we pay the taxes to, and then there's a resource drain that happens elsewhere. Winston Smith would not have been able to be murdered in that area if Capital understood by removing themselves from the shackles of power, they can become part of a community. But it's more net beneficial for them to not be. And so therefore, we as a community have to understand that meeting in a corner of a park where maybe 50 to 100 people are gonna see us, that's not progress, that's gratifying. That's ego. That does a lot for us. We are all gonna feel real good when we leave from this place, right? But the needle didn't move. And the needle is not gonna move until we continue to occupy space, continue to make the situation as unfeasible as possible while remaining free, right? Keeping those 2 things in tow. Stay free and make it hard as fuck for these niggas to get their capital. Period, point blank. Because at the end of the day, we have a duty to each other. It's a shot at Shakur's birthday. And we understand we have a duty to fight for each other and win. Because we ain't got shit to lose but our change. And we know that. So, hold these feelings, but don't think you did nothing. Right? Show up the next time there is something to hold space. Hold space yourself. You don't gotta have a Twitter post in order to do it. Get 4 or 5 people, hold space, phones out. Right? The more that we're able to decentralize resistance, the more that resistance can actually be sustainable. You can always take out a messenger, but you can't take out a message. So my only question to all of y'all is, what the fuck message y'all gonna follow?
Thank you, DJ. Was you gonna speak?
Hey, we have Tony, another man who was assaulted by the security guards in Uptown. So thank you for being out here. They're just coming out the woodwork. Come on, Tony.
We love you, Tony.
Oh, and thank you. You all who've been occupying this space, thank you so much.
Occupy space.
Bringing the words to this space, and really appreciate it and all the work you've done.
Okay, So, yesterday, I'll talk loud and try to keep it short. I want to cover a lot of people's points because they're all really good. We really need to know our rights because they go beyond their rights. I was there just shortly before the gentleman behind me was arrested. I was there at about 1 o'clock yesterday to take some pictures and just investigate and see because of the attack the night before. So I was doing my own looking at things. And the gentleman come up on the side, question me about what I was doing, and then I had the other gentleman, Nathan Seabrook, who is the owner of CRG. He's the one in several pictures with this slight beard and glasses. Nathan Seabrook, he grabbed me from behind, and then they took me, and then another gentleman, so that was 3, and then a 4th person walked up to me, and everybody had weapons, and we sat down and had a little discussion. about why I was there. And I told him I was just there to seek information. And he was like, well, are you a cop? I was like, I don't need to be a cop to seek my own information. As an
Right. And they're not gentlemen.
During this conversation, Nathan Seabrook told me that he was the gentleman that the lady the night before maced and hit in the head with a can for telling her she can't videotape stuff. And I was like, why should she listen to you anyway, especially in these days and times? So,
that's that bullshit.
They admitted all these things to me. You need to know your rights. Citizens arrest. Citizens arrest is good if you've committed a felony or have thoughts of committing a felony. None of which on the property. They gave me a trespassing notice, which basically said I rode my bike past the tape.
What?
I rode my bike past the tape, and then he told me it was police tape, and I pointed out that it only said caution.
Right.
So, but it is real, and you do need several people out there. I think this is going to go on. I mean, this is at least 3 or 4 assaults in 24 hours.
It's something.
So, class action suit. One of the other people talking in front of me said something about a class action suit, but it would not be against the company, the military guys. It'd be against the property.
Right.
The property owners. So.
And them.
Everybody needs to stay as a collective that has had something happen to them until there's enough people, and we can bring a class action suit against the property.
Do it. Take.
And then one of the gentlemen who confronted me, just so I can share information, Joe was his name, and he was an older person of color who was a ex-police officer. He was physically shaking and started telling me about how Black Lives Matter's leaders bought houses and could have sent everybody to North Minneapolis to college for that money. And like he was physically shaking talking to me, and I was like, I didn't even say anything. Why are you this mad? Okay?
Right.
So that's who we're dealing with, okay? We're dealing with
lizards.
That the police back that are not good people. The gentleman, I'm going to say his name again, Nathan Seabrook, S-E-A Brook. He's the one, you can look at him, he's the one that owns the company. He's the one that tackled me. He's the one who's arrested the gentleman over there in the video. That's Nathan Seabrook. He said there's all kinds of things. Like he said, he worked for the VA. I've already had people looking into it. They can't find any actual pay records from the government in that capacity to him. He started his company after the murder of George Floyd, and I don't think he's telling the truth about almost anything that he has on their resume.
Bullshit.
We don't need these people here. I don't want to take up your time. It's not about me. It's about everybody else.
It's us. You're us. Yes. We love you.
Thank you for speaking. There was some little confusion about who they are, but now we know for sure, and appreciate that. So I'm not a lawyer, but I say when you bring the class action lawsuit, you name as many people and parties as possible, which it would be the management company that contracted with them, as well as them, and then I would also add the city of Minneapolis for a license and allowing them to stay there. So is CJ here? Is CJ here? He was coming. CJ,
I'm okay. So, I want to say that this shows they not only not want us to get justice, but they want us to forget what happened.
Right.
They lynched Winston Smith, and they want us to forget that. The Star Tribune assassinated Winston Smith's character, and they want us to forget that. Community members ran a garden and gave back to the community, and they snuck in there and destroyed it at 4 in the morning and tore it apart. They want us to forget that. A white supremacist carried out a domestic terrorist attack and killed Deanna Marie. Say her name.
Deanna Marie.
Say her name.
Deanna Marie.
And they want us to forget that.
We won't.
But these protests and these acts of resistance will continue. And we'll continue to bring attention to Deanna Marie. Say her name.
Deanna Marie.
To Winston Smith. Say his name.
Winston Smith.
Because we will never forget. And we also got to remember, we got this fight is coming from all angles, right?
Yeah.
We also got to talk about the prison, the pipeline to prison, right? The school to prison pipeline, right? We also got to talk about housing. We also got to deal with Kim Potters, right? We still need to get those manslaughter charges to murder charges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keith Ellison got the case now, and he think we forgot. He better make the right decision, or we about to pull up to his house too. We still got to get justice for Dwight E. Because they can't seem to still get their story straight of who the fuck was there and what the fuck happened. Mm-hmm. Other than that 10 seconds that they have that they've alternated, right? We still need to get the footage for Winston Smith and figure out who the fuck was there so we can fucking charge them.
Yep.
It's actually fucking crazy. I just been thinking about it more and more. We live in a dystopian future. Just think about this. We had a modern day lynching in daylight. And what followed is we became under military occupation for several months, where they were throwing illegal weapons that are against the Geneva Convention to use in tear gas. And now, in Uptown, we have private mercenaries, literally international mercenaries, that are attacking people. This is the craziest shit I've ever heard of. Mm-hmm. They're treating us as if they're going to start killing people. Because this is crazy. This is the type of stuff that happens when the U.S. government comes to your country before they overthrow your government, right?
Right.
While they stay in there and, keep doing coup attempts and stuff like that. This is just fucking crazy. Like, I just don't even know. Like what's next? Like, privatized mercenaries guarding property. Parking ramp. It's going to parking ramp. Like, how does that make any sense? And then we got Uptown Crime. I don't even know that dude's name. I refuse to commit it. We got him going around, taking pictures, doing all the sneaky shit. I don't know what the fuck. Keep fucking around, we pull up a jug house, okay? Keep fucking around. This ain't no motherfucking joke. Anyway, I want to continue by saying, all power to the people.
All life to the people. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, DJ. It's so nice to have DJ and Brandon around because I don't have to chant, I love that. I'm like, yeah, you can do that. So, and they're great at it, and they bring so much energy to the space. So I just always appreciate that. We got a couple folks from TCC for J here. We'll give a shout out to Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar. CPAC, Community Control of the Police. Y'all want to come up and speak? No? Okay. I guess I meant TCC for J, Community Control of the Police. Okay, I'll talk about Community Control of the Police because I've not been out canvassing, so I guess I can get it in this way, take a shortcut. So, Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar is working on an initiative to give the community control of the police. I guess that was kind of self-explanatory in that. So if you go on the Twin Cities Coalition for Justice on Facebook, they have a special community control of the police. You can look for more of that. But it's a means and a way where the community can have control over hiring and firing and discipline, because we know those things the firing and the discipline really don't happen, right? So we have police officers who are killing people who remain police officers. We have the officers and various law enforcement branches that killed Winston Smith. We don't even know their names, right?
Right.
And it's expected that we may never know their names. So that's what also concerned me about, this group that's doing the security. As I saw the video, when people were asking the security, like, who are you? Someone said, are you U.S. Marshals? Because they could have been, right? not identifying who they are. So then thinking that, wow, these might be actual law enforcement, then that switches something in terms of how you can defend yourself.
Right.
Legally, right? Because they will say, oh, you were, you know, resisting arrest. Well, these people aren't even law enforcement, actually.
Right.
They're private security, it turns out. So we want to, you know, we can keep that in mind as we're thinking about Winston Smith, the call for justice for Winston Smith. There is a lawsuit that's just filed against the jurisdictions, you know, not the individual people. Those murderers need to be named. In addition, we know that parking ramp had video. We've found that out from an employee. But we also know that parking ramp, they have video, and they're seeing everything that these these security guards are doing. And they're condoning that. So on the group that hired them, what's their name? Seven Corners Uptown, something like that. On their Facebook page, they talk about their priority is the safety for the community and visitors and guests. If they were concerned about safety, they would not hire this group of militia to come out and be attacking people.
Yep.
Right?
Citizens.
They could have put that money and that energy into getting justice for Winston Smith. People would not still be occupying that space.
Right.
Right? There'd be no need because we'd have them officers prosecuted. They should have been standing up at the park ramp saying, we had the footage. Law enforcement took the footage.
Right.
We have an employee who saw it and says Winston Smith was ambushed. They could have been working towards justice. They could have been standing with us and fighting on our behalf.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what they wanted to do because they want to hold up white supremacy and white privilege, and they want to hold up capitalism. And so those things are not in the best interest of people of color and poor people. So we want to make sure that we're just continuing to call out uptown, continuing to raise our voices, and everything doesn't take place in the streets, right?
Right.
So it's we're trying to get some more out in the media. I'm not sure. Did Kara get it? Mohammed, did you guys put out a press release today?
I'll bring it out.
You're putting one out? Okay, so we're gonna have another press release out. And now it also helps that we have video. We have some more video. We have 3 videos involving Haley's incident. And the world needs to know what's going on in Minneapolis, you know, in the Twin Cities metro area. So, Chantel, you wait. You're in the truck. Chantel. Oh, she's talking. I don't know where she is. Okay. So we're not going to march. It's a little late. We started a little late. We're not going to march today, but we can do that yet another day because this is, you know, the dial, not a switch, right? Marathon, not a sprint. All of these things. And so as we continue to have incidents happen, we continue to build community, we are able to get to know one another and stand up for one another. Chantel. Chantel Allen, Black Lives Matter, Twin Cities Metro, a serious organizer and youth worker.
Yeah.
Give it up for Chantel.
Sure.
She's on the school board in St. Paul, so she's in there, you know, doing the work that needs to be done. So, Chantel.
You know, it's funny, not many youth workers get on the school board. It sounds crazy, right?
Right.
It's a lot of businessmen and capitalists and folks that care more about property over people, which is exactly what we're talking about right now. People who are designing this system before black and brown men get out into society to get out tonight, man. This is really crazy what's happening in our communities. But the thing is like, you know, I talk about this often about spiritual warfare, and it's coming to a head. People are getting frustrated because they're feeling oppressed because black folks are getting a little bit of rights. And it's only a little bit, because we're not even moving into legislation. It's really more practice than policy, right? And so because folks are starting to be a little more kind to us in the Target line, and because people are being a little more courteous when they're serving us in the streets, right? Everybody is mad. And we ain't even got no real policy yet. So it's nice to see people showing up because it's a small group, but this is the group that we really need to start to talk about. How do we keep each other safe in a genuine way? Because if we're getting this kind of backlash from regular, not just people being nice to us and no policy, what happens when we shift policy? Because what happened previously in history when we shifted policy? People got lynched. And I you know, I don't speak out a lot, but because I operate in this bigger picture realm, and I be feeling like people are looking at me like, where's she coming from? Winston was an assassination.
Right. It was.
Dante wasn't an assassination. That was because they were frustrated with the guilty charge. And so we are seeing real life lynching happening right before our eyes, and we ain't even got no policy passed. Black folks are still underneath severe oppression in the state of Minnesota right now. Severe oppression in a lot of ways, because it's education, it's housing, it's jobs, and even if you have a job, we're talking about pay. You see what I'm saying? And then if you are in a situation, I live in St. Paul, so if you are in a situation where you're comfortable and you're living okay, there's these other entities coming in, developers, and they're pushing us out. We have so many people squeezing us up out of the Rondo neighborhood, I don't even know where to swing at. We got the stadium, we got the land bridge folks trying to build land. Either way, black folks are not going to be able to afford that land. And that's where they told us we could be. That is our safe space. When we go back in history, originally in the state of Minnesota, Rondo was the space where black people could be. We couldn't come over here. See, this isn't gentrified. This is exactly the way it's always been. Because Bryant was a racist white man who ran everybody off this land. See, he lived here in the 1700s. Mr. Bryant, this is Bryant Square we're sitting on, right? He lived here in the 1700s. So that means he ran native people off of this land. When water is in walking distance, native people had civilization in that space. They didn't just live there. They didn't just ride their horses hunting through there. This is where their homes were. And they were removed. And then they put a flag down that said Bryant. That's not okay.
No.
So I was talking to the young people, because I haven't really been involved, as the collective was saying. They haven't seen me around. I got a lot of other things going on. So they don't see me around a lot, right? But I do want to give my knowledge. And when they start sealing off stuff like that little area where folks was at, this looks like a great place to occupy. Because, see, we have some real demands we can make in this space. Remove the fucking name off the wall. Get the name off the damn street right there and start to honor somebody who deserves it, like Winston Smith.
Right.
Start to honor people that deserve it, that are out here. And then take over this space and start to rebuild it so that it's a safe space for the people of color in this community. Right. Because there are people of color in this community. There's a sister I know, I'm not even going to say her name, she lives across the street. But she is a deep down home, you've never seen her organizer. Interconnected in the black community with cultural wellness, all kinds of different people doing all kinds of heavy work, heavy lifting for the black community.
Yeah.
She is traumatized in her home on a regular basis, hanging out on the front steps. This is not okay. How do we start to take over spaces and create safety for brown and black people in those spaces? Not just show up, but create safety. Because on 2 occasions now, in that area over there, things weren't safe. And that's a problem. We've got to have each other's backs. So if we're on scene, it doesn't matter who you are. I don't know him. I don't know her. I don't know him. I don't know them. But they're all my brothers and sisters, because we're on scene. We're here on scene. We're all eyes on deck, all hands on deck. We're paying attention to because I know exactly what's going on down at the corner. Because I'm paying attention. Those ain't my people. I don't know who those folks are. I don't know them. But I see what's happening down there, and trust me, I was in position to get ready to move that way. So what we have to do is start to be alert. We have to organize. Don't just show up. Get to know the people that you're in space with. Start to create these groups, because all they did was they said, oh, we're going to create a group and we're going to get some vests and we're going to be assholes in the street. Why don't y'all come together, get some vests, and be good, loving people in the streets?
Amen.
Because it's time. This is spiritual warfare, and love will win.
Yep.
The higher being is going to win in this. So what side are you going to be on, and where are you going to put your labor? That's the question. It's not just showing up. You got to put your labor in, because it's beyond just being here or me just pulling up with this truck. I can't just pull up with this truck. I've got to show up. I got to show up to my board meetings. I've got to make those financial sacrifices and get on the school board, because they wasn't listening from where I was sitting. You see what I'm saying? You got to show up in your spaces and start to really change the hearts and the minds of the people around us. I'm going to end with Winston Square.
That's good.
So I'm going to say this. Every time we take over space, no matter where it's at, we need to start to identify the names that are on the buildings and the streets and everything that's around us, because when we do, we'll realize why the white supremacists are on our ass. They don't want us to shut down old Calhoun. They don't want us to shut down old Bryant right here. In North Minneapolis, they don't want to hear about Patrick Henry name being changed. They're not trying to hear about Alexander Ramsey coming up off the county name and in there. They don't want that. They want to continue to uplift their heroes, who were really folks that were committing genocide to us, brown and black people in this country. So it's time for the change. And it's time for us to be alert and pay attention to everything that's happening around us. So when I say Winston, you say Square. Winston!
Square!
Winston!
Square!
Winston!
Square!
Winston!
Square!
Winston!
Square!
Winston!
Square!
When I say fuck, you say Bryan. Fuck!
Bryan!
Fuck!
Bryan!
Fuck!
Bryan!
Fuck!
Bryan!
Winston!
Square!
Winston!
Square!
Winston!
Square!
Winston!
Square!
Fuck!
Bryan!
Fuck!
Bryan!
Fuck!
Bryan!
Fuck!
Bryan!
Winston!
Square!
Thank you, guys.
Amen.
Before we close out, I just want to say something to Governor Walz and Joe Biden real quick.
Sure.
And just to all lawmakers at the federal and at the top of the state level, that none of the gains, none of the transformation were partisan. The Missouri Compromise hurt us. Every time there's like bipartisan type legislation, we don't really see real transformational change. So we need to see when Joe Biden or Governor Walz are, well, especially Joe Biden, there's no reason to be bipartisan right now. Sometimes you have to use your power and make change happen. So with the George Floyd Act, that could be signed into law. Economic justice for black people, there could be executive orders for that. So we want to see some real action, not bipartisanship. We need some partisanship, something partisan to create real change for black people right now. Say his name.
George Smith.
Say his name.
Winston Smith.
Say his name.
Winston Smith.
Thank you. I think Chantel can close us out with one shot.
Okay, knees, we gotta get up. Come on, knees. All right, legs.
All right, we're gonna close out real quick. I'm gonna pump up my event tomorrow at Bryan Park in St. Paul from 2 to 7. Y'all know me, Shantizi love the kids.
Let it
so it's
cheer.
all about the kids. There'll be some jumpy houses and ice cream. There'll be food, music, DJ. Twin City skaters are coming to take over the tennis courts. They'll have skates for y'all to use. They'll bring the skating DJ will be there playing skate music for those of y'all that love that. I lost my son about 3 years ago, so they're going to be doing a giant mural of my son, which is beautiful, and anybody can join in to help on it. Lots of stuff, just fun in the park, relax your mind, because without self-care and without recognizing that love is the real revolution, then you're going to be lost. You're going to be stuck chasing something that is hard to grab. Let's just put it like that. So take those times to breathe, take those minutes to breathe, bring your kids, get free food. There'll be free hula hoops, free basketball. I always give away free stuff. I got free stuff. I'll just say that. Free stuff for the kids.
It's free stuff.
Free stuff for the kids.
All right, for the kids.
All right, y'all. So just repeat after me. We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
Because we have nothing to lose but our chains.
Because we have nothing to lose but our chains.
So I see 12 all over here, y'all. Just yell it, let them know. Let them know why we're here. Because this is a revolution. And Assata Shakur is a revolutionary. So when you say these words, know that what you're doing is revolutionary. And when you walk in these words, it's very revolutionary. You ready?
Amen.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 All power to the people, y'all.
Power to the people. People to the power.